A Florida woman will face a trial on charges she murdered her boyfriend last month in Monroe County. Rogers says Mineo asked her to kill him because he had gotten threats from an online cult.
5 years before Stephen died, there was another follower of Sherry Schreiner's had a tragic death. Her name was Kelly Pengilly.
I know that Kelly was struggling with her faith, and she found Sherry Schreiner.
These angels in the flesh have been sent here to be born on earth as humans. Somehow Satan knows who they are, and he tries to kill them from the time they're born.
It didn't stop after that.
According to Sherry Schreiner's writings, they started to have a bit of a falling out.
What they want to do is kill people off. They're suiciding people so they can blame me. My ministry scared that person so much they killed themselves.
Mom and Dad, I'm off to fulfill my destiny. I love you all. Signed, Kelly M. Pengilly.
Kelly's dead.
I think Sherry Schreiner is a predator and like the epitome of evil.
Don't listen to my haters. They're a dime a dozen. The hate will roll. It'll never stop until the Father strikes them down. And he will. He'll strike them all down. The media wants to think we're a cult because we pray for God to show us and keep leading us into tearing down the strongholds of Satan and the New World Order, which greatly affects the alien age New Order that's coming. Well, but I think I do a pretty good enough job being able to warn you guys what they're doing and what's going on. And for that, I'm hated. So you ask yourself, who hates me? They do.
When we think of cult leaders, we think of the Jim Joneses. You know, we think of these guys in robes with long beards and a lot of followers around. We think of retreats. We think of people approaching the authors of self-help books and asking for more guidance. That's not how things are anymore. Right now, if we want to know about something, we go online.
The Lord's protecting me and keeping me alive. Why? Because I'm a direct line to his people. I'm the one with the truth, folks. And no one else has this kind of access to him or heaven like I do, folks. We are in the last days. People need to get their hands on what the truth is.
People didn't go looking for Sherry Schreiner. They went looking for answers, and she provided a silver bullet solution to all of their problems. And that, if anything, is what made her so attractive.
I asked the Father earlier this evening, I said, what do you want me to talk about tonight on the show? And he said, I want you to tell them who you are. And that was like a thump, just hit me right on the chest. If there's anything I can't stand to do, it's talk about myself. You won't see any pictures of me on the internet. I have one that's about 25 years old. I like to stay anonymous. I like to stay in the background. I like to stay hidden. And I like to just do my work. You know, I'm like the kitten that roars.
Pretty much everything we know about Sherry, we know because she told us. Sherry started her online ministry early on in the 2000s, and over the years, she grew it. She has several twists on tedious conspiracy theories, but then all of these people are dying, you know? And why does anyone care what Sherry Schreiner says?
America is going to be destroyed, folks. America is going to be completely destroyed. This whole Illuminati plan from the beginning, where Satan set up America to be his home country, and they've been working since then. They're underground bases, exchanging technology with our government, abducting our people, feeding off of us. They've owned America from day one. That's all I can say.
Depending upon who you ask, Sherry is this evil cult leader, or she's this con artist, or she's literally the daughter of God. You know, toward the end of her career, she talked a lot about how she was this poor backwoods girl from central Ohio, but it's not how she started out. Everybody comes from somewhere. So I decided to look a little deeper.
I received a phone call that asked me, hey, did you see the story of what happened with Sherry Coberly? And dude, I'm like, my brain couldn't even fathom what I was seeing online with what I knew of Sherry. I mean, there's certain things when you have people change, then there's some people that like, whoa.
People want to know how it's possible that I could interview the devil. And in my perspective, it's why not? He's been stalking me my entire life. He would go to my softball games. He was there when I graduated and walked across the stage to get my diploma, my degree. So you tell me who's more qualified to interview this loser. I know more about him than anybody on this planet, I can guarantee you that.
My name is Randy Sumner, and I knew Sherry Coberly, which was her maiden name before she became Sherry Shriner, during our time together as classmates at Liberty University in the mid-'80s. I grew up in Ohio, not terribly far from where Sherry grew up. Same kind of Baptist, fundamentalist kind of background. Exceptionally conservative. We don't go to movies, we don't do any dancing. That was just kind of the culture, particularly inside of Christianity in that part of Ohio. Sherry came from a very devout family who were very serious about being in God's Word, living a Christian lifestyle. Never in my wildest dreams could I have ever seen where she turned along the way. It's completely out of alignment. It just doesn't make any sense. Liberty University, when we first arrived, had gone from a school that started with 21 people in a classroom to 15 years later, already having 2,500 students. They came from all 50 states, came from over 100 countries around the world, all gathered in one place, all with a singular goal in mind, to go change the world for Christ. It was an exciting, exciting time. At that particular time, Jerry Falwell, who started the school, was on the air. He was the leader of the moral majority. Every Sunday morning, you flipped on the TV, you saw the old-time gospel hour, Jerry Falwell.
And whatever you need to be set free from today, God can do it. Our country's in trouble, big time trouble. From the highest level, we've gone bananas. Any church that's doing God's work God's way will be in constant trouble. Satan is alive and well.
He was a firebrand preacher, though. I mean, he had strong political convictions, and he was not shy about sharing them.
The White House is a zoo. And the courts. Yesterday, the Massachusetts court ruled that 2 lesbians can adopt a child. Now, you got to be a gross idiot. I don't know where you went to law school, Your Honor. That little child is doomed simply because of your ruling.
That passion for Jesus, I think, was a seed that was planted in her younger years, but it was watered while she was at Liberty under Jerry Falwell. Because of the television ministry that was global at the time, the broadcasting at Liberty was so unique. And we had the opportunity, while we're still in school, to be part of some operations that were being broadcast around the world.
It is my sincere prayer that this video, which you are now watching, will be a great blessing to you, because we have received literally hundreds of letters through the years from people like you whose lives have been totally changed as a result of watching messages like these.
Oh, good evening. I pray tonight God will just flood your soul with blessings from above.
At this moment in time, this was a special place where you felt like you could take over the world and do it in a way where you're showing love and showing what Christianity is all about. When Sherry arrived on campus at Liberty, she came in with this big blonde hair, the 80s blonde hair, and she had this big sunny disposition. She stood up immediately and said, hey, I want to be news director. Just like that. I mean, the first person to really kind of speak up while we're all still trying to figure out how do you run a radio station or a student TV station. She knew exactly what she wanted. She wanted to use her voice, and she wanted to take her voice and be able to change the world and let them see Jesus first. Obviously, she took in a direction that most evangelicals would not have fallen.
I'm here for the Most High God. I am heaven's ambassador. I'm a prophet, I'm a watchman, I'm a seer, I'm a messenger, whatever you want to call me. Just don't call me intimidated, because I'm not intimidated by any of these freaks on earth. I'm not intimidated. People want to know where I get my information. I get it from the Father. I'm just at a different level than most people. My calling is really high on her.
Sherry thought it was all about herself. I've got a special direct line and understanding from God. If you listen to me, you don't have to pay attention to what the Bible says, because I'm going to tell you what the Bible says. The second you make that move over, it becomes about a person instead of God. That's when it gets dangerous. What I can tell you is the heresy that Sherry was presenting on her websites or podcast is 100% counter to the gospel, the way that she learned it at Liberty.
Don't come against me, folks. You will die. Fair warning. I've said it before. I'm not going to play nice. People come against me, they want to hurt me, they're going to die. They can't stop the warriors. They've been trying to kill me for years, and I'm still here. Oh my, I live in a cow town. I live in a cow town, but you know what? I lead a lot of smart people. I lead a lot of people that love the Lord. And they're doing amazing, amazing things for the Father.
When we were at Liberty, we were considered outsiders. Most of the rest of academia across the United States would lean much more towards the left as opposed towards the right. And we were about as far right as you could possibly come. You find yourself ostracized, they'll prejudge you based on the fact of a particular ideology you happen to follow. Fundamentalist Christianity, just those words, they evoke emotions in everyone.
I wouldn't be doing it if the Lord didn't put the stuff on my heart to do. I would just sit back like everybody else. It'd be much easier.
I get so exasperated. It's just like talking to a wall, trying to get people to wake up. You know, these people want everything for free. They think the internet's free. You know, I couldn't do this ministry without donations. We need to be doers. You know, leave the singers in the churches. While the real ones are out doing.
When I knew Sherry, politics was her driving force. Now, she had a Christian component to that, but it was clear what she wanted. She had strong convictions. She wanted to be a voice that would change the world on a news network like CNN.
Stand by, ready, 3, take 3, mic here. Ready, camera, 3, 1 center up.
Good evening, I'm David Walker.
And I'm Lois Hart. Now here's the news.
And that was her ultimate goal from the time she was at Liberty, and tried to pursue that. The fact that she was never quite able to land that big job, it clearly had a big impact on her and probably changed her perspective. Because here's the thing, when you're young, you feel like you can take on the world. Then suddenly it becomes obvious you're not going to be able to fulfill that dream. Suddenly now you start questioning a lot of different things in your life.
Had my life planned out, had goals, had things I wanted to do, careers I wanted to have. And what I had to do was give up all my wants and dreams. I gave it all up for him because I had to realize that, you know, to be a part of him, we have to give up this world. We have to become 100% his.
She wanted to work for CNN. She wanted to be in the news, and it didn't happen. This is something that I think is not uncommon. Country girl goes to the city, fails, goes back home. She gets married, she has a couple kids. And I think it was the kind of life that she thought that she could escape by going to college and by getting a straight job and things like this. And it just wasn't meant to be.
That's what the Lord had me do, was pull away from the world, give up everything that I wanted from the world and start seeking the things of his kingdom in heaven. And I learned that I'm here for him in these last days.
My name is MJ Benias. I'm a journalist who covers cults, conspiracy theories, and fringe subcultures. As someone who covers cults, you eventually stumble upon Sherry Shriner. It's almost like falling down the rabbit hole. At the time, mid-'80s, early '90s, you would have had already a landscape of rampant conspiratorial beliefs.
Roswell, the location of what some believe is one of the most significant UFO sightings ever made.
On my Area 51 line, you're on the air. Hello.
What we're thinking of as aliens are, they're extra-dimensional beings.
Kind of a reptoid race, and they're not really friendly to us. That's what I want to say to the viewers is, like, if you've got the remnants of your religion, call them out. This is the time for it.
And they would have explained to her, you know, the reason why CNN didn't hire you is because you're not one of them.
It's the only way you get your own show, and to be an anchor on a CNN is to play ball. And you guys know what play ball means. Means they're doing the satanic rituals, they're making their satanic masters happy, and that's what they do, folks. That's the only way they get those jobs. You play ball.
She's realized that the world is cutthroat. CNN didn't want her, and maybe there's something wrong with CNN. Maybe there's something wrong with the media.
As you get older and you start to learn more about the war around us and why there is such a war. Because they want to stop you, they want to beat you down, they want to keep you and prevent you from accomplishing whatever it is, that calling that's on your life. And so all the attacks you've ever suffered and will continue to, is because they're in prevention mode. They want to stop you from doing anything.
And so she's stewing there up in Ohio. She had 4 kids, and she wanted to make a living. What can I do from home? What are my options? And she hit upon this blogging thing. And this was right when blogging was super hot. And that was kind of how she started to gin up her following.
Coming up next, live with Sherry Shriner.
Welcome. I'm Sherry Shriner. It's Friday night. You're live with me tonight. Thanks for spending your night with me. What I wanted to talk about tonight is, well, everybody knows Sherry and aliens. That's my calling. The aliens aren't coming. They're already here.
I think it's not unreasonable to say that she was looking around for how can she make some money online. You know, this is where everybody is. More ears, more dollars, more attention.
My people are the smartest on the planet. Can't hold a candle to the people who listen to my show. Their level of intelligence is so far high and above anybody else's. You know, I talk to people every day, and I hear the same things. Someone's complaining, their family's not listening to them. They're the black sheep.
Hello, caller, you're on the air.
I don't know, how do you get people to open their eyes, Sherry? When I say anything to them, they think I'm crazy too, so.
People do think you're nuts, but just keep talking, keep planting seeds, and let the Lord handle it.
My husband turned off the computer because he thinks I'm crazy over all this. They seriously said that they will put me in for therapy or something, talking about all this. And when they come to get them, I'll say, I told you so.
All right, well, thanks for calling in.
The truth is a lonely place. It alienates you from the rest of society. It can be a very lonely place.
Oh,
Margaret,
can an interview take 2?
Blow your mind.
Maybe, Mark? Yeah.
And when you start to question things, your religious leaders will make you feel like you're being unloyal to God. That, oh, that just lies, they'll tell you. And you feel afraid to question anything because you'll go to hell. That's how they control you. Fear, intimidation. You believe what we tell you. Don't question things outside what we tell you. And if we don't have an answer, then it didn't exist. That's how they keep you dumbed down.
Do not disturb.
That's great.
I'm Shane Petman, and I would consider myself a Renaissance man. The things that I study are things that are typically taboo, things where you talk about it and instantly people sort of lose their marbles. Like, what? What are you, some sort of a tinfoil hat conspiracy whack job or something? Most people just spend hours every night watching television or drinking beer or doing whatever it is they do. My escape was to study, to grow my mind, to get lost in the information. And so I started studying about a lot of different conspiracy things, you know, cryptozoology, aliens, demons, fallen angels. I've always craved all that information, but with the advent of the internet, it opened everything up for people to be able to research as much as they wanted. People are going through things, but they feel like they can't talk about it. Like demons, as an example. They're plastered across all the television and the movies, but you're not allowed to ask these questions to your pastor. Why is that? Why are you so scared to talk about it? People are starving and they're hungry for this information. So approximately, I would say 2008 or 2009, I probably heard some of the first things I heard of Sherry's work. I had some friends who were really close with Sherry, and they're like, hey, you should come in this group and hang out, and you can maybe learn some stuff. And so I said, sure, why not? I think one of the first things that I came across probably had to do with reptilians. That's one of those things where people are like, oh, reptilians, come on, buddy.
Hello, everybody. I'm Sherry Schreiner, and I just wanted to make this video on soul scalping. They shove this serpent down your throat, and it wraps around your spinal cord, and Lucifer can embody that serpent and then overtake the person.
A normal human could go through a process to be inhabited by one of these things. They remember everything that happened in your life. They're able to carry on as you, but they're now in the driver's seat.
There's this kind. Miley. No, she was replaced, folks. She was replaced.
They look like people, but they can transform into a reptilian form.
Do you believe that?
Yeah, I really do believe that these reptilians are, it's either fallen angels or a bloodline of Lucifer himself. Christians lose their mind when you talk about it. And then you start looking into ancient civilizations and archaeology, and there's these reptilian creatures that are carved in all these petroglyphs in all these separate societies all around the world. Like, why would they take the time to carve in these crazy ornate petroglyphs if there's nothing to it? There's too many unanswered questions to be like, I don't know. I've had family members that have just blocked me, all of a sudden gone, never talked to me again because of the information that I researched.
I hear it all the time from people. My wife thinks I'm crazy, my husband thinks I'm crazy, my kids think I'm crazy. And folks, we just really don't even have that much time left that you have to deal with people that don't want to listen. Just hang in there.
One of the things that I saw from the beginning was that this is a really easy story to tell in like a big way. Reptiles and aliens and crazy people. And I wanted to stay away from that temptation because the story's gotta be more about what draws people. Why are people drawn to this?
So Blog Talk Radio was where she said the stuff, but she would put the shows on YouTube.
This is the malfunction of the clones. Celebrities have been replaced. News reporters have been replaced. Our government leaders. Every single person on TV now with their own show, whether it's your own show or you're an actor or an actress, you have to sign the dotted line. You have to sell your soul to Satan to get on TV.
Sherry said the aliens were something like 90% of people you see on TV. Really, anybody you don't know in person could be an alien. And it's interesting because that sort of feeds into more mainstream conspiratorial beliefs that don't say that people on TV are aliens, but it does say that they're evil conspiring elites or they're out of touch. They have nothing in common with you.
The problem with conspiracy theories isn't that they're wrong. The problem is that these people know that something's wrong, and they don't know how to address it.
You know, 99% of the people on this planet are under oppression. And they're under oppression by the 1% that controls everything. Now you wonder why you work so hard. You work 2 jobs to pay your way through college, but then you never get that break. It seems like the people who are the least deserving make all the money, and they never worked for anything.
You know, the government's lying, religion is lying. I need someone who's gonna tell me the truth.
Because Satan tries so hard to suppress us, to keep us unknown, to keep the truths that I reveal from getting out. And then he works overtime to have people try to discredit me and hate me and steer people's opinions against me. It's just a constant battle.
You're not alone. You have the rest of the Lord's warriors scattered around the world, all feeling the same way you do.
People who have had really, really, really shitty lives can't explain it. But then if you say, well, the devil is making it his full-time job to make your life garbage, your life is awful because you're so important, it's easier to get up in the morning. I think that Sherry's particular genius was she was able to take all of these different beliefs, all of the conspiracy theories, and tie them together under one umbrella and solve everyone's problems with orgone. So whatever ailment you think you have, orgone is the cure, and Sherry's got a little bit of enough for you to be excited about.
My job here on Earth is to lead the people back to him, and also leading an orgone war and a resistance war against Satan and his generals. And people buy orgone from other people that claim they make my orgone. Don't buy it from somebody else selling it on their website saying, this is Sherry Schreiner's orgone. Buy it from me direct. The New World Order hates the orgone that keeps demons out of your house, that repels evil. That's what they're after. They're after our recipe of orgone making. That's what they want to stop.
Sherry Schreiner offers a very simple solution to a very complex world. As a journalist who started researching Sherry, the first rule is you can never trust the person you're writing a story about to tell their own story. So I began reaching out to some of the individuals who were part of her movement. A lot of them wouldn't speak to me. They knew I was a journalist. They wanted nothing to do with me. I contacted an orgone seller who was friends with Sherry. They worked together producing orgone, and they sold it as part of their mission. I posed as a buyer. I explained that my family was being harassed by some sort of force, and my wife and my daughter were scared. And they explained to me that this would definitely keep my family safe from reptile aliens, from demonic forces, from the devil himself. This person was trying to sell a product. That's what's offered in these cults. It's not trying to really fix the problem. It's trying to oversimplify the problem into one idea that's easy to swallow and digest and go to war with. But they're being manipulative, and they're obviously they're playing a dangerous game.
Until then, folks still need your donations to keep this show going, keep this fight going, our resistance against the works of darkness and Satan and his forces on Earth. I need supplies, materials. I need constant financial help, folks. You know, my diehard warriors, they're the ones I can count on.
The orgone warrior aspect of Sherry Schreiner's ministry can't be overstated. These are people who feel like they have a mission. These are people who are in an army. It's research during the day and then fighting it at night. It's an empowerment that these people would not otherwise have.
In Sherry's group, there was a variety of people from across the world, to be honest with you. Single moms, dads, seniors, young people you would never guess, right? I guess the key thing that united all of them is that they were willing to just search out some of this deeper information.
See, truth only sounds crazy to people who don't want to hear it. You get so comfy in your false doctrines that you don't want to hear that your beliefs are wrong. Most people will do anything to protect their illusions. And what's the Father say? He says their illusions aren't going to protect them any longer.
People are curious. And I think The chat room was where you just you sort of sat at Sherry's feet. Absolutely nothing is off limits. And I think that Sherry put her life at stake to get this information out there. She was tortured on the sly with electronic harassment and a lot of other really radical stuff because Sherry had some really deep, nasty information that they didn't want getting out there.
These celebrities and politicians and blue blood families have been worshiping the devil all these years, doing all these blood sacrifices, all these child pornography rings, pedophilia rings. They believe that they get longevity and energy by raping babies. And the more evil they are, the higher they climb. So their status in their world becomes higher.
I think Sherry was right on with the New World Order. They're doing gigantic worldwide satanic rituals right now on purpose to usher in the New World Order.
Do you get what the New World Order is, folks? It's aliens dominating and controlling the Earth and putting humans into complete and total subject slavery and ownership to them. So you have to decide what's worth living for and what's worth fighting for. Better to die than to live for Satan.
I learned a lot from Sherry, seriously. And if you're searching for the truth, she had a lot of keys. And I don't think those are going to go away until they shut down the internet, shut down social media, and take that away. There is a time coming in society very soon where those people asking those critical questions, they got to go. Because I've seen too much and I know too much, but I just want to be honest. There's going to be a massive roundup of people like myself and other people who are asking critical questions. They will come to collect me and put me in a van. And
when you look at the attraction to Sherry Shriner, what did she have to make otherwise nice and normal people embrace such hate, you know, and embrace this world of madness and paranoia? Just so that they could be part of this woman's group.
They're like cockroaches. When the lights go out, the demons come in, and you don't see them and even know they're there. They've been trying to kill me for over a decade, and I'm still alive. Why? Because of the Father. Why do they want to kill me? Because they know I speak the truth. It scares the crap out of them, because they can't control me.
Like, there's this constant, they're coming to get us, they're coming to get us, they're coming to get us. And for me, I couldn't imagine anyone embracing that.
Sherry was fearless. She wasn't scared to call people out on awful, hideous things that are going on in this world.
He told me to lead his people back to him, and it's been an uphill battle. It's tiring. It's mentally and physically exhausting. With the workload that I have, and I don't have producers, I don't have a staff. You know, people send me emails all the time. I do answer. I'm just not going to get into a lengthy diatribe, that's for sure.
I was probably Facebook friends with Sherry for about 5 years, and I spent about a year in the chat rooms. And then one day I got a little sassy. I think I might have been having a bad day, to be honest with you, and decided to ask some really tough questions. It could have been over Paul. Sherry didn't really believe that Paul was legitimate. Basically, if you want to throw out the Apostle Paul, you're cutting 13 books out of the New Testament, and I just wasn't willing to go there. And I was just like, well, while we're at it, what about this question? And what about this? And I hammered it a bit. So one of Sherry's best friends told me that, you know, this sort of behavior is unacceptable and you're gonna have to leave. She's asked that you leave the group. Like, I can't believe this right now. This person was so cool in so many ways, and then pow.
People want you to handhold them, and I don't have time to handhold people. People just send you emails with a million questions, expect you to be their research teacher. You know, I don't have time for that. That's why I don't get nitpick fights about people who come on my list with their own ideas of theology. They may love the Lord, and that's fine. They'll learn the truth in heaven. So I spend all this time fighting about it now, and who's right and who's wrong, and blah, 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 blah.
That shunning thing, brilliant. brilliant move on her part. You know, if you're committed to a cult, you're committed until you leave. That, of course, is why Sherry Shriner gets that cult tag. Because being in her good graces was the most important thing to any of her followers. This isn't just Sherry saying, I don't want to be your friend anymore. This is Sherry sending a message like she's a mob boss. I don't want to be your friend anymore, and this is what happens to people who displease me. We saw it with Stephen Mineo.
You realize the mental torture she gives people? I had suicidal thoughts, and I want to prevent other people from getting into that crap.
We saw it with Richard Brown.
Guess what? I'm not a damn clone, and I ain't in hell. Do you see me choking like a reptilian?
We saw it with Kelly Pengilly. Expelling people is what Sherry does. This is part of her ministry. This is part of her business plan.
I'm not your mother. I'm not your therapist. I am a prophet of the Most High. I speak for him. I'm here to wake up an army. And we're trying to protect our gates and prepare for the war that's coming against us.
Cults 30 years ago were very different than they are now. What we're seeing now is these charismatic leaders use social media to promote themselves, promote their brand, promote the product that they're selling. And in exchange, you don't need to leave your family. You can sit in your basement or your living room and engage with the cult without the obvious signs that you're being removed. The problem with this is it's much more insidious. Anyone for free can start an Instagram page or a Facebook page or a Twitter account. Anyone can start a YouTube channel and cost nothing.
It's really important to understand that when we are talking about people who are joining cults, there is this price, oftentimes a literal price of participation, so that you have to purchase goods or you have to pay to attain the next level of spiritual attainment. And in that dynamic, when you have the charismatic leader and you have followers who are really revering that person in a spiritual or almost godlike way, that really paves the way to pretty gross exploitation.
As you grow followers, that's when the money starts to come in, right? That's when you monetize your content, and all of a sudden you're a full-fledged cult leader earning a profit from people who you've sort of slowly brought in.
Those people are often very vulnerable to being controlled and coerced. And so I think we see some of that evidence within the Sherry Shriner cult, that she's really manipulating her followers to buy her goods and to revere her as this exalted figure.
I'm asking those who have never contributed to this ministry and should be to step up. I'm talking about being able to hit the road and go on orgo missions for the Most High. You know, we can accomplish so much, but like I said, I can only move as fast as the support is for this ministry.
It's hard to quantify how many followers Sherry Shriner had just because they didn't have a physical compound and they didn't have membership cards. But we can sort of estimate from things like fundraisers she had online that she had a lot of supporters.
Sherry's GoFundMe campaign was very successful. For someone who had a small following of maybe about 20,000 people, she generated over $774,000 over a 10-year period. The fact that she was able to generate so much revenue is astounding. It's actually mind-blowing.
So that's what we need to do, folks. I need more funds for that. I need paid bills. I need your support, folks. The clock's winding down. We can't go to sleep. We gotta fight back.
Sherry might have believed what she was selling, and she might have had some sort of religious conviction, but she still profited from it. She still monetized her YouTube channel. She still put advertisements on her website. She still sold orgone to earn money.
I think that she found her niche and followed it along. But it was the talking and the idea of having her followers more than the belief. It was the adoration and the money.
I always said I wasn't here to build an army. I'm here to wake one up. So I need your financial support. I need your help. I need warriors in countries to stand up. Go to my website, orgoneblasters.com. It's money well spent. They're always trying to frame me as being a cult leader. And I really don't understand that one because, first of all, we all live in different various areas of the world. We don't live together as a commune. I don't lead anyone. I lead leaders. I teach. And so it just blows my mind that they always want to frame me as being some kind of cult leader.
There's criteria for a cult, and it's that someone has an unreasonable amount of power over you. There's a list. I don't think it matters. I don't think that there are enough cult boxes that Sherry doesn't check to not count. It took a special combination of personalities to make it dangerous, but it was always there. Sherry Shriner is not new. This is the same thing that happens all the time. Someone wants money or power, and the only way they know how to get it is through fear and intimidation. Sometimes it's gangs, and sometimes it's internet preachers.
It's easy for me, as a believer and former classmate of Sherry's, to have a great deal of empathy for her as she got further down that path, where she would espouse these things that are counter to what she had known in her younger years was the truth. It's a tragedy of epic proportions based on the Sherry that I knew and the Sherry that we all saw in the end.
A lot of people would have called Sherry a cult leader. I think that was preposterous. To me, a cult leader is someone who is doing nefarious things. They're trying to lead you in a certain direction. They want you to sell all your stuff and move to the wilderness, drink the Kool-Aid, buy the white sneakers and kill yourself. Sherry never asked any of that. If you wanted to share Sherry's information, fine. If you didn't want to share her information, okay, that's your business. It's unfortunate that some people passed away, but I don't think Sherry had any part of that. She didn't do this stuff to slap you in the face or be a mean old lady. She did this stuff because she cared. And I wish that you would be more loving before you judge Sherry on some of these deeper things and spend some more time researching it. And just ask yourself, are you being honest with yourself? I didn't agree with everything Sherry said, but if you don't have the capacity to ask hard questions, you're a slave, whether you know it or not.
I'm not going to stop. I don't care how many of them beg me to stop. I'm not here to stop. We're here to implement what the Lord has sent us to do and move forward. We're the Father's armies on earth, standing up against Satan and his evil armies and wickedness. I can't wait to see the look on people's faces when they realize everything I've ever been teaching for the last 20 years is true. Don't they be shocked, huh? You either love me or hate me, but you're gonna be shocked. I can guarantee you that.
Barbara Rogers is facing 1 count of criminal homicide, and trial is expected to continue into tomorrow.
When you put a gun to someone's forehead like this, that's murder.
If the gun was held at all by Barbara Rogers, it was held with the deceased's own hands over her hands.
We didn't know if Sherry would be a witness, but I emailed her expecting to never hear from her. She emailed me back, I think, the same day.
They want to take this to trial, that's gonna come out. And then
Anh ấy bật rất cao và đó cũng là tiền đề cho siêu phẩm ban đầu.